Imagine sending a message across 40 miles in just seconds. No phones, no internet, the year 1844. What if I told you that the man who made this possible was not a scientist, but a painter? The story you're about to hear will shock you. This is the story of Samuel Finley Breese Morse, a man who experienced such devastating tragedy that it pushed him to invent something that would connect the entire world. But here's what nobody tells you about his journey. Born on April 27, 1791, in Charlestown, Massachusetts, Samuel Morse wasn't dreaming of wires and electrical currents. He was obsessed with art. After graduating from Yale College, he traveled to England to study painting under the famous artist Benjamin West. By 1825, Morse had become one of America's most respected portrait painters. He painted presidents, created masterpieces, and founded the National Academy of Design in New York. Life was perfect. He had fame, success, and a beautiful family. But then, everything changed in one devastating moment. In February 1825, while Morse was in Washington, D.C. painting a portrait, he received a letter. His wife, Lucretia, had fallen ill. He rushed home immediately, but here's the heartbreaking part: by the time he arrived, she was already buried. In those days, messages traveled so slowly by horse that by the time he got the news, it was already too late. He never got to say goodbye. This tragedy haunted Morse. He became obsessed with one question: what if there was a way to send messages instantly across long distances? And this question would consume the next 12 years of his life. In 1832, while returning from Europe on a ship called the Sully, Morse witnessed something that would change history. A fellow passenger, Dr. Charles Thomas Jackson, demonstrated how an electrical current could travel instantly through any length of wire. Morse's mind exploded with possibilities. He immediately began sketching designs in his notebook. Other passengers thought he was crazy, an artist playing with electricity. But Morse saw what they couldn't. He envisioned an electromagnetic telegraph. By the time the ship docked, he told his fellow passengers, "If this thing works, I'll make the lightning my messenger," but turning this vision into reality. That would test him beyond imagination. For the next 5 years, Morse lived in poverty. He worked from a cramped studio in New York University, surviving on bread and water, sometimes not eating for days. His brothers had to send him money just to survive. Everyone thought he'd lost his mind. Why would a successful painter throw everything away for this impossible dream? But Morse was relentless. He taught himself electrical engineering, recruited help from brilliant minds like Alfred Vail and Leonard Gale, and slowly, piece by piece, the telegraph began to take shape. But there was still one massive problem to solve. How do you turn electrical pulses into understandable messages? This is where genius struck. Morse created a simple but revolutionary system: dots and dashes, short electrical pulses and long ones. He called it the Morse Code. Each letter of the alphabet was assigned a unique combination: A equals dot dash B equals dash dot 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 SOS equals dot 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 dash 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 dot dot dot. The beauty: anyone could learn it. You didn't need to be educated or wealthy. But convincing the world that this actually worked, that required something spectacular. And Morse was about to deliver the most dramatic demonstration in history. May 24, 1844, the U.S. Congress had finally given Morse $30,000 to build an experimental telegraph line 40 miles from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore. The entire scientific community gathered. Skeptics waited to watch him fail. Morse sat at the telegraph in the Supreme Court chamber. His partner, Alfred Vail, waited in Baltimore. Morse tapped out the first official telegraph message in history. "What HATH God wrought 40 miles away." Instantly the message appeared. The room fell silent, then erupted in applause. The world would never be the same. Within just 15 years, over 23,000 miles of telegraph wire spread across America. By 1866, a telegraph cable crossed the Atlantic Ocean. Wars were won and lost based on telegraph communication. Businesses boomed. News traveled at lightning speed. Families separated by thousands of miles could stay connected. The telegraph became the internet of the 19th century. Morse received honors from countries worldwide: France, Denmark, Italy, Portugal, Spain. He became wealthy and famous. But his greatest achievement: he turned personal tragedy into global transformation. The lonely artist who lost his wife had given the world the gift of instant connection. Samuel Morse died on April 2, 1872, at age 80. When news of his death spread via telegraph across the world, telegraph operators everywhere held a moment of silence, their keys quiet for 1 minute. The man who made the lightning his messenger had finally rested. So here's my question for you. What tragedy or challenge in your life could become your greatest invention? What problem keeps you up at night that the world needs solved? If this story inspired you, subscribe now because next week I'm revealing the secret story of the woman who actually invented Wi-Fi, but never got credit. Hit that subscribe button. You won't believe what I found.